Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror! Rainbows from Hell! Yes! Episode number 30! 30 episodes! That's right, Halloween is tomorrow! So what is this? This is Devil's Night then? And coming off of last night's very, very entertaining The Shallows. You know, it's hard to say it's a straight up horror movie, but you know, come on, a giant shark that is bent on murder is pretty horrific, anyways. Plus, you know, Blake Lively does fill out a bikini quite nice. So, anyways, so tonight, like I said last night, I had reviewed a bunch of the Friday the 13th movies. The first one, the remake, which was the last one, and also my favorite, which was, of course, the final chapter. So I thought, you know what? Since I touched on probably the greatest horror movie franchise of all time, I thought, you know what? I better talk about another horror movie franchise. Probably the second greatest, but is definitely the big rival. Is a rival so much that fans have been clamoring for a crossover movie, and then they got it. And honestly, I liked the crossover movie. Some people didn't, but I thought it did a pretty good job, and it was very entertaining and satisfying for me. So anyway, you already know, of course, what I'm talking about. You don't even need to read the title. It's the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Yes, Nightmare on Elm Street, the other juggernaut behemoth of the horror movie franchises. And honestly, in the 80s, it was Friday the 13th versus Nightmare on Elm Street. Halloween had their two good movies. Honestly, I like the third one. Even though it wasn't Michael Myers, I did enjoy that movie. Everything after that, not so good. But these two just kept churning out hit after hit. And so I'm going to talk about the one that started it all, the original A Nightmare on Elm Street. So what is the movie about? Well, it's about these group of four friends. Two women and two guys. I think the main character is Nancy because, dang it, it's easy to remember her name. I forget everybody else's name. Whatever. Anyways, and they are all haunted in their dreams by this mysterious figure with razor blade hand. Maybe it was a right hand. I don't know. Razor blade hand and wore a fedora and a dirty, scroungy green and red striped sweater. And his name is Freddy. And as Freddy Krueger picks them off one by one in their dreams, Nancy realizes what's happening and tries to figure out what can I do to stop this. And lo and behold, she learns the truth about Freddy Krueger and what is going on. And honestly, it's pretty much common knowledge, but just in case, spoiler, okay? So Freddy Krueger was this child killer, and he got off on a technicality, so a bunch of parents decided to find him. He was at an old boiler, and they burned him alive in that building. But he came back with a vengeance, seriously, as a burned up, mutilated guy who is now haunting people's dreams. And if you die in these dreams, you die in real life. Actually, you get injured in these dreams, you get injured in real life. And Nancy figures out that you can actually pull things from the dream into reality. And so she concocts this scheme to try to basically capture Freddy Krueger, bring her into the real world, where you can have a sort of level playing field against the guy. And so that's the basic plot of the movie. And it is just a groundbreaking movie in itself. Like, first of all, the whole dream part, it's hard to say if that was the first movie that really thought about dying in your sleep and dreams coming true, but it definitely was the movie that made that a big thing. And it was a different type of slasher movie because in the slasher movies, you could escape, you could run away. I mean, sometimes it's hard to escape, and sometimes it's hard to run away because they're just slowly coming after you. But in this one, you can't, you cannot get out of the way. You can't leave the camp. You can't leave Haddonfield. You can't just run away. You have to fall asleep eventually, and because of that, it creates this creepy and terrifying thing in the back of your mind, like, next time I go to sleep, am I going to end up in a situation like that? And that's really, really, really awesome, because in the end, horror movies are about people in positions where they can't get help. People are put in positions where they cannot escape. They're put into situations where it's dire. There's like no help and there's no way out. And dreams are one of those things. Everyone is asleep. They're at their most vulnerable when they're sleeping because they're just lying in bed. They're not knowing what's around them and things like that. And everyone has to sleep. You can't just stay awake forever because then you just go insane. So it's brilliant in that aspect. So let's get to those scores. Violence and gore, I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. I mean, not very violent overall, like body count wise, but there's nice little gross scenes like Freddy's face getting torn off, him cutting people a little bit, and a lot of blood. That one death with the what would you call it? The first girl where she's like floating around in the room. Classic. Blood all over the place with that one. Of course, Johnny Depp's death scene, which I guess spoiler also, all that blood coming up. So a pretty violent imagery. So I'm still giving it a 3 out of 5. Shock value. There is a bunch of jump scares going on in this movie. I'm giving it a solid 3 out of 5. Watching it like a lot of times, you kind of see them, but honestly, there are some pretty good moments in this movie. So 3 out of 5. Acting, this is really a weak part of this movie. Some of the acting is just dumb. I mean, the acting is just not that great. I'm giving it a 2 out of 5 because, I mean, there's enough of it. It doesn't entirely detract from my experience, but man, some of it you're sitting there going, wow, can you I don't know, emote maybe? It's pretty bad acting wise, but it's still enjoyable. So yeah, it is what it is. 2 out of 5. Plot, this is the strongest part of the movie. 5 out of 5. Like I said, it was super original. The fact that this is like really the first time majorly people are getting hunted and killed in their dreams, and they spawned this creature, this guy Freddy Krueger, which honestly in the first movie he really didn't have a lot of personality. They definitely fleshed him out a lot more in the sequels, but still, just the fact that you got these kids who have to try not to stay awake, or try to stay awake, try not to sleep, and then figuring out that you can pull things in from the dream world. I mean, sure, it's not like reality, but then again, it's about a dream killer, so throw reality out the window. So I'm giving it 5 out of 5. Nudity, 0.25 out of 5. There is this brief, super brief nipple going on during the bathtub drowning scene, and that's about it, really. Kind of disappointing, but hey, whatever. Enjoyment factor, I am giving it a solid 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this movie. It's creepy. It's got great atmosphere. Like I said, the concept and the story are awesome. And even though it's got some bad acting, and maybe I want it to have a bit higher body count and maybe some more nudity, I'm still giving it a very enjoyable 4 out of 5. My overall impression, though, is a 3.75 out of 5. The problems with this movie, acting-wise, just keep it from becoming super great. It's a good movie. It's a really good movie. But, yeah, its problems really cause me to not give it a higher score. So 3.75 out of 5. And that leaves an average score of 3 out of 5 for A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, it's not my favorite of the series, actually. My favorite is Part 3, which, honestly, if you watch that best and worst of the franchise video I did, I think I make a point about what's the best. Did I do the worst of the franchise on those? Maybe I did. I don't know. I think I did the best of the franchise, I believe. Anyways, I don't know, I'll go look at that video again. Anyways, but no, Part 3 is definitely my favorite of this franchise. It's Freddy Krueger at his best, and the people he's trying to kill at their best too. So, anyways, there you have it. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Classic horror. And, yeah, there you go. I touched on one of the icons of horror. I felt like I had to, since I did Friday the 13th. And, Halloween. Maybe I should do Halloween for Halloween. I don't know. I had plans for this Halloween. I was going to watch Rings. I had it all planned out. I was just going to go Monday, I got the day off, going to go watch some Rings and, give some candy, some trick-or-treaters, and make a video. And then I found out that Rings, what the hell, was moved up to February. Or moved back, I guess we would say. And, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. So anyways, I'm really disappointed. So now I'm kind of scrambling to think what I'm going to do for Halloween. But we'll see what happens. But until then, Internet, sleep tight.